In today's world, where travel is often defined by borders, restrictions, and fees, a remarkable story has emerged that is changing the conversation. In a stunning and historic move, the Prime Minister of India has officially scrapped visa fees for all citizens of Burkina Faso. Yes, you heard that right. From now on, Burkinabe nationals traveling to India will no longer need to worry about expensive visa fees that often acted as barriers to movement. This is more than just a change in immigration policy. It is a powerful gesture of friendship, solidarity, and strategic partnership between two nations thousands of miles apart. For Burkina Faso, a country at the heart of West Africa, this announcement marks the beginning of a new era. For India, it is a bold step that strengthens its influence in Africa, while opening new doors for cooperation, trade, and cultural exchange. But what does this really mean? Why is this decision so historic? And how will it shape the future of relations not only between India and Burkina Faso, but between India and the entire African continent? Stay tuned, because in this in-depth documentary, we will explore the full story, the history, the politics, the economics, the human impact, and the vision for the future. This is Iazicho Africa, and today we dive into how India's Prime Minister has made history by scrapping visa fees for all citizens of Burkina Faso. To understand the magnitude of this announcement, we need to look at the past. India and Burkina Faso, though geographically distant, share a history of cooperation within the non-aligned movement, the United Nations, and through bilateral development projects. India has long been interested in Africa, especially as the continent continues to rise in global importance. Burkina Faso, despite being a small and landlocked nation, has attracted India's attention because of its strategic location, rich mineral resources, and Pan-African political stance. Over the past 2 decades, India has invested in Burkina Faso through education scholarships. Hundreds of Burkinabe students have studied in India through Indian government programs. Healthcare initiatives. India has supplied affordable medicines and supported local hospitals. Technology and training. Burkina Faso has benefited from India's capacity-building programs, particularly in agriculture and information technology. Trade growth. Though modest compared to giants like Nigeria or South Africa, trade between India and Burkina Faso has been steadily increasing. But even with these positive ties, one thing often stood in the way of deeper people-to-people connection: visa barriers. For years, Burkinabe citizens wishing to travel to India, whether for business, study, medical treatment, or tourism, faced challenges with high visa fees and complicated processes. This may sound small to some, but for ordinary people, visa fees can mean the difference between opportunity and limitation. A student with a scholarship still had to raise money just to apply for a visa. A trader looking to buy textiles or equipment in India had to budget extra costs for paperwork. A patient traveling for affordable medical care in India had to stretch finances further. Visa fees were not just about money. They symbolized a barrier, a wall between two friendly nations. And now, that wall has been torn down. The Prime Minister of India announced the policy in a joint statement with Burkina Faso's leadership. With immediate effect, all citizens of Burkina Faso will no longer be required to pay visa fees to enter India. After all, very few major nations extend this privilege to African citizens, and almost never to an entire country without restrictions. This is not just a bureaucratic adjustment, it is a statement. It says, India values Burkina Faso, India values Africa, and India is willing to put action behind words. Many are asking, why would India take this step? Why Burkina Faso? Why now? There are several layers to this decision. Diplomatic friendship. India wants to deepen its ties with Africa, and Burkina Faso has positioned itself as a champion of Pan-African unity. By honoring Burkina Faso, India sends a strong message to the rest of Africa. Economic strategy. Africa is one of the fastest-growing markets in the world. India knows that building trust today will translate into long-term trade, investment, and partnership tomorrow.
La République de l'Inde est indépendante depuis.
India does not want to be left behind. Scrapping visa fees is a soft power move that shows goodwill and wins hearts. Strengthening travel makes these cultural links even stronger. In short, this is diplomacy at its smartest. For the people of Burkina Faso, this policy is life-changing. Education. Students can now more easily travel to India to pursue degrees in medicine, engineering, IT, and business. Scholarships will go further without visa fees. Healthcare. India is a global hub for affordable medical treatment. Burkinabe patients can now travel more easily for surgeries, therapies, and specialized care. Business. Traders, entrepreneurs, and small businesses will benefit from easier access to Indian markets and suppliers. Tourism and culture. Burkinabe travelers can explore India's cultural heritage, from the Taj Mahal to Kerala's backwaters, without worrying about added costs. Family and diaspora. Many Burkinabe citizens who already live, work, or study in India can now invite relatives more easily. This is not just policy, it's opportunity. For India, this move is not charity. It is partnership. Stronger trade. Indian businesses gain access to new African partners. Burkina Faso's gold, cotton, and agricultural products are valuable to Indian industries. Diplomatic leadership. India positions itself as a friend of Africa, not just an investor. This builds goodwill that money alone cannot buy. Soft power. Indian culture, films, education, and healthcare will now spread more easily in Burkina Faso. Long-term influence. By treating Africans as equals, India distinguishes itself from other powers often criticized for exploitative practices. This is a win-win decision. The ripple effect has been enormous. Social media across Africa is filled with reactions. Some Africans are celebrating India's example, asking when their own countries will receive similar treatment. Pan-African leaders see this as a model for the African Union to pursue internally, scrapping visa fees between African nations themselves. Critics, meanwhile, ask whether this is India's way of countering China's deep investments in Africa. But regardless of interpretation, the fact remains, India has made history. Let us bring this closer to the ground. Policies only matter when they touch real lives. A young Burkinabe student named Mariam dreams of studying computer science in Bangalore. Without visa fees, her scholarship will now cover everything. She can focus on her studies, not paperwork. A small trader named Omar travels often between Ouagadougou and Mumbai to buy textiles. Visa fees used to eat into his profits. Now, he can expand his business. A patient named Isa has been saving for heart surgery in India. The scrapping of visa fees reduces his expenses and speeds up his treatment. A filmmaker named Awa wants to collaborate with Indian cinema. Now, cultural exchange becomes easier. These stories are not abstract. Of course, no policy is without challenges. Security. Open doors always come with risks of misuse. India will have to balance openness with safety. Logistics. Processing an increase in Burkinabe travelers will require efficiency and better systems. Consistency. Will this policy extend to other African countries, or will it remain limited to Burkina Faso? These are questions for the future, but they do not diminish the significance of today. Imagine this. If other nations follow India's example, what could the future hold? Stronger Africa, India relations that go beyond trade to true partnership. A Pan-African precedent, where African countries also begin scrapping visa fees for one another. A more connected world, where travel is based on friendship, not bureaucracy. This decision is just the beginning. By scrapping visa fees for all Burkinabe citizens, India's Prime Minister has done more than pass a policy. He has made a statement of friendship, a statement of partnership, a statement of history. This decision will change lives, strengthen ties, and inspire new possibilities. For Burkina Faso, it is a door to opportunity. For India, it is a bridge to Africa. For the world, it is a reminder that diplomacy is not only about power, but also about people. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter in Africa-India relations. And as always, we at EASICHO Africa will be here to tell the story, to echo Africa's voice, and to celebrate the bold moves that shape our destiny. Because history is not just about yesterday. It is about today's choices and tomorrow's dreams.